here? Am I going to have to chase down my realtor? Am I going to have to chase them down because they won't call me back? Right? So all these things, they basically went through every major fear that everybody has in that video, and they put it all together. Now here's the deal. Nathan converts his listing presentations at 94%. 94%. Because he does this and a number of other things from the time they raise their hand to the time they sign on the dotted line. Would you like to convert your listing presentation or listing leads at 94%? Absolutely. Everybody would. See, it just matters of what am I going to do from the time they raise the hand to the time they sign. What are my different opportunities to market my business? Half the time when he shows up, people are like, hey, can we move forward? And he goes, no, I still need to give you my listing presentation because I still want to set proper expectations for you so that you know exactly what you're signing on to, so you know exactly what to expect from me. See, that's the opportunity. Phase 4 is what we call client, whoops, turn my thing off there. Get so moving around. Phase 4 is what we call client servicing. Client servicing, see how you service your clients is this is where repeat and referral business starts. See, everybody wants repeat and referral business, but this is where it starts because if your service sucks, guess what? You're not getting any repeat and referral business no matter what you do after the sale. No matter how many times you ask for that referral, no matter how many times you ask for repeat business, if your service sucks, you're not going to get it. Now let me ask you, if your service is average, if it's exactly what they expect, are you going to get that repeat referral business? Yeah, maybe. But can you be guaranteed of it? No. See, we don't refer people for expectations being met. If my expectations are being met, that's good because I had expectations and you met them. Let me ask you a question though. In real estate, is the expectation sometimes really, really low? Yeah, sometimes that bar is set very, very low, isn't it? How many of you have never stayed in a hotel before? Just checking. All right, so here's the deal. See, you'll get it. There you go. So a couple weeks ago, my wife and I were staying in Minneapolis, St. Paul because I was doing an event out there. And we were staying at a hotel called the Sofitel Hotel. It's a French-owned hotel. It's a French company that owns it. If you've never stayed in a Sofitel, very much like a Ritz-Carlton, you know, very nice hotels, very nice service. And what's interesting about it is when you show up to a hotel, do you expect the staff to be friendly? Yeah, right? Do you expect the rooms to be clean? Of course, right? You expect to walk in, have friendly staff, and you don't want people's body hair in your room when you get there, right? That's what we expect. Now, if your expectations are met, do you get really, really excited? Do you walk into the room and go, oh my gosh, I have to post this on Facebook. People here are really nice, the room is really clean, send. No, because people are going to be like, where have you been staying that's a big shock to you? Right? What hotels or motels have you been staying at that you got surprised by really clean rooms and nice people? So we don't share that willingly. That's not something we're all excited about. But here's what's interesting. We walk into the Sofitel Hotel, French-owned hotel, and all of a sudden people start speaking to you in French. They're like, bonjour, monsieur. Now they do it with that MSP accent that they have, which is kind of funny because it's that like northern Midwestern accent. So they can't really speak French all that well, but they do it. And it's fun. And they're like, bonjour, monsieur, bonsoir, mademoiselle, and that's all the French I know, so that's it. So they start talking to you in French and like, can I help you find anything? And everywhere you turn around, there's somebody there to help you and greet you. Everywhere you turn. I even got up at 4:30 in the morning one day because I couldn't sleep, so I decided to do some work. So I went downstairs because I needed coffee at 4:30 in the morning, right? So I went downstairs expecting that there was no way I was going to find any coffee down there and no way I was going to find anybody. There were still people littering that place that worked there, and they were like, hey, can I help you find something? I'm like, coffee, I need coffee. Actually, this was at 3:30 in the morning. And they said, you know, we don't start brewing coffee until 5 a.m. I was like, oh crap, where can I get coffee? And they said, you know what, we'll start a pot of coffee for you. We'll start a pot of coffee for you. And I was like, wow, that'd be awesome. So they brewed me coffee at 3:30 in the morning. Now, how many of you really enjoy wake-up calls? Just checking. Wake-up calls suck. And I have to get wake-up calls all the time. And so one of the things that happened is, you know, I get a wake-up call in the morning. Now, when you get a wake-up call at 5 a.m., what do you need afterwards? Coffee, right? You need coffee. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. I need coffee. Now, here's the thing. When I normally am in a hotel, I have to go brew my own coffee. But what's interesting is 5 o'clock my alarm or the wake-up call goes off. 5:15 I get a knock on the door. And they're standing there with 2 piping hot cups of coffee on the tray and they're like, would you like some coffee? I'm like, yes, please bring more. Right? Because now, are wake-up calls pleasant experiences? No. But did they make the wake-up call a little bit more pleasant? Absolutely. Now, every wake-up call is judged by what standard? That one. Now I get wake-up calls, I'm like, where's my coffee? right? Because they raise the bar. Now, the bar for wake-up calls is extremely low. It doesn't take a lot. Wake-up calls themselves still suck. But what they've done is they've made the experience just a little bit better, and that's something that I turn around and I talk about because I thought it was interesting. I thought it was unique. I thought it was different. And now every place that I go, they are judged by that standard. And we all said that the bar in real estate sometimes is really, really low, isn't it? You know what one of the big low bars is? I have to hunt my realtor down. They never call me back, right? What we encourage our clients to do is you call your clients every single week. Set a day, set a time. I don't care if it's Monday, Tuesday, whatever it is. Set a time with your clients where you call them every single week and you give them an update. Buyers, sellers, it doesn't matter. Now, this is generally what I get, but what happens if nothing's going on, right? What happens if I have a listing and I have to call them and tell them that they had no showings over the weekend? I said, well, here's the deal. If they have to, are they probably going to be upset? They go, well, yeah, if they didn't have any showings, they might be a little upset. I said, so I have a question. How much more upset are they going to be if they have to hunt you down to get that same information? See, if they're already going to be upset, but they know that they're going to get a call from you and that you're going to be able to walk them through what's going on, explain to them exactly what's happening, now you get an opportunity to help them understand exactly what you're going to do to change things moving forward. See, they want to hear from you. They want to talk to you. They want to hear. And if all you do is call them on a regular, consistent basis, that's something that they go, oh, you know what? I can predict that this person's going to call. Because do our clients call at the most opportune times? They call at the most opportune times for who? Themselves, right? And that's usually the least opportune time for you. But if they know they have a set call with you and something does or doesn't happen over the weekend, they know that, don't worry, my agent's going to call me because they've set this time with me, and every single week they've continued to deliver on that time. So now you get to control your schedule just a little bit more and also provide a service where they don't feel like they have to hunt you down. That's the opportunity. There's so many different ways to improve the way that you service your clients and start to build that repeat referral business. So this is the question. How can I improve my service and communication with my clients? All right, phase 5 is what we call post-sale. Post-sale. Now, post-sale is where repeat referral continues. See, it starts with how we service our clients, then it happens after the sale. And the question you're asking yourself here is, how can I stay top of mind? Why is this important? Because 85% of people would refer their agent if they could what? Remember their name. Remember their name. Why can't they remember their name? They haven't heard from them in 5 years, right? Most agents treat it like a one-deal stand. Right? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Here's your thank you note for doing business with me. I'll see you in 7 years when you want another deal. Right? It's like going to a bar and picking somebody up, having the one night stand, and then giving them a thank you note and saying, call me in 5 years when you need another transaction. That's what it is. Right? Because most agents look at it and go, oh my gosh, my bank account is screaming at me. My bank account is saying, idiot, get out there and sell some more business because you need more business. These people can't get you more money. You better go out and find ways to generate more income, and you got to go after those hot leads. And so we lose sight of continuing to stay top of mind with the people that we care most about and the people that have done business with us in the past. See, people want a relationship. They don't want to be a one-deal stand. And the reason a lot of people don't get referred is because they haven't talked with their agent or they haven't talked with their clients in 3, 5, 7 years. There's an opportunity here to stay top of mind. One of the things we encourage our clients to do is we call it the 1-1-1 plan. After the transaction, call them 1 day after the transaction, 1 week after the transaction, and 1 month after the transaction. Why is this important? Because they might have a problem. And most of you are going, that's exactly why I don't call them. Right? Because they might have a problem and they're going to suck me into their problem, and then I'm going to be running around trying to fix their problem, and I can't fix their problem. And you know, maybe you can't fix their problem, but would you agree that as real estate professionals, you probably know more about getting their problem fixed than they do? Absolutely. Absolutely. See, contacting them regular, consistent basis afterwards. One of the things we encourage our clients to do is we say you ought to have 27 touches with your past clients every single year. 27 touches. Now, most people go, does that mean call them 27 times? No, don't call them 27 times. But let me ask you a question. If you did a client party and you invited them to the client party, that's 1 touch. The invitation is 1 touch. You followed that up with a call to make sure that they receive the invitation, ask them if they're coming, that's 2 touches. They come to the client party, that's 3 touches. You send them a thank you note for coming to the client party, that's 4 touches right there around one event. See, it's averaging out to about 2 to 3 touches a month. Now, some of that phone calls? Absolutely. Is it a CMA on their anniversary of them buying or selling a house? Absolutely. Is it a happy birthday card? Absolutely. All those things count. And they're gentle touches. They're just keeping yourself top of mind with people that you want to do business with. 27 touches. That's it. And it's not that difficult. It's just a matter of finding new ways to reach out to people and stay top of mind. We have one client that what she does is she does housewarming parties for anybody that buys a house. And she says, you know what, I'm going to throw you your housewarming party, but instead of being the realtor that stands at the door passing out my card as people walk through, going, hi, I'm the realtor, hi, I'm the realtor, hi, I'm the realtor, what she does is she said, I want to do this. I'm setting no budget for you. No budget for you. She said, I want you to invite as many friends or family as you want. I want you to go to the grocery store. You know what drinks you like. You know what snacks you like. You know what foods your friends like. And I want you to go to the store and I want you to buy whatever you want. No budget. Most people freak out with the no budget. She says, in all the years I've been doing it, I've never had one person abuse it. Most of the time, they give me a bill back for like $100 and they have like $500 worth of food, because they just don't want to abuse it. She said, and then what I do is, rather than me standing by the door, she said, I tell them, you are not to pour drinks, you are not to refill chips or dip or anything. That is my job. You let me serve your friends and your family, and you just enjoy everybody that you invited to the party. Now, do you think that gets her a lot of repeat referral business? Absolutely. Is that delivering unexpected value? You bet. See, we don't refer for expected value, we refer for unexpected value. When we start to deliver beyond people's expectation, that delivering of an unexpected value, that's when we start to see our repeat referral business jump. And a lot of that is possible post-sale. All right, so those are the 5 phases. And generally speaking, it looks like this. From left to right, most people are going to move through those 5 phases left to right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus most of our time, the remaining time, on this, lead generation and lead nurturing. We're going to focus in on lead generation and lead nurturing. So I want to start by talking with you about how to make social media actually work for you. And let me ask you this, are you guys a little bit sick and tired of the social media gurus running around telling you got to be on this? Oh my gosh, right? And some of them are my dearest friends. I love them to death, but I disagree with them on so many different things. Now, if I'm going to tell you how to make social media actually work for you, I have to have a really good reason. And so I'm going to violate a little bit of a principle that I have, which is not to talk about myself. But I need to say this because I think this is important. The reason I believe that I'm qualified to talk with you about it is I've made a tremendous amount of money on social media and I've never once asked for business. I've made a tremendous amount of money on social media and I've never once asked for business. And beyond that, I've also been on social media for a really long time. Now, being on something for a really long time doesn't make you good at it, does it? No. Like you could do the same year over and over and over again and go, wow, you really suck at this, right? You've met those real estate agents that have been in business for 25 years, but it seems like they've been on year 1 for 25 years. Right? They never seem to actually get better at what they do. So just being on something for a long time doesn't make me qualified, but the fact that I've done very, very well leveraging social media to grow my business without ever once asking for business is why I believe that I'm qualified to talk with you about this. So how do we make social media actually work for you? There are 7 keys to actually doing this, and the first thing I need you to understand is that social media is not a strategy. Facebook is not a strategy. Right? Twitter is not a strategy. These are tools, much like your cell phone. Much like email. They are tools, they are communication tools, they are relationship tools, they're educational tools, but they are not marketing platforms. They're not designed to be marketing platforms. What they are designed to be is a way for you to engage with your clients, engage with your past clients, engage with your audience. See, the minute you turn them into marketing platforms, what you do is you abuse the friendships and the relationships that you have, don't you? How many of you know those people that start selling like that acai berry juice on Facebook? Like you have those family members and they go, oh, I'm going to start selling this juice. And this juice, man, it cleans out your colon. It makes your feet stop swelling. Your hair starts growing. You gain 6 inches on your height. Some of you thought I was going to say something different. Get your minds out of the gutter. Right? And all of a sudden it cures all their ails, and everybody on Facebook that they know becomes a potential what? Acai berry drinker. And everything that they post about is acai berry juice. And look, I love it. It's freaking delicious. But is it going to cure all my problems? No. And do I want to hear about it over and over and over again on social media? I certainly do not. And the problem is most agents, and I see this over and over and over again, come to my open house, come check out my new listing, come to my open house. Now's the best time to buy, buy, buy. Now's the best time to sell, 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 because marketing's going up, 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 down, down, down. What do you want to hear? I'll tell it to you, right? And they do that, and they abuse the relationships that they have. So how do we do this? There are 7 keys I want you to keep in mind to make social media actually work for you. Number 1 is I want you to pick only a few networks. Pick only a few networks. There are over 400 active social networks. You can't be on all of them. Most people can't even be on 4 effectively, let alone 400. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick only a few social networks. And in reality, pick one. If all you do is pick one, just pick one. Because the more it's like jack of all trades, master of none. You don't want to be an inch deep and a mile wide, do we? So if you're going to pick one, the one I would recommend is Facebook. Because it's the largest and because the majority of your friends, family, past clients, sphere of influence are going to be found on Facebook. So pick Facebook. Pick Facebook. Now, if you're going to pick a few social networks, how do we then start to make them work? Well, number 2, we have to define what we want from each network. Define what we want from each network. See, each network was designed for certain things. Facebook is a relational platform. YouTube is an educational platform. It is not a home touring platform. For some of you, that comes as a surprise because I've seen this, right? What we don't need are more shaky cam iPhone videos walking people through a house. Like, hey, here's the bathroom, right? Here's the crown molding, here's the kitchen. And it's like they walk through the house like this and you get vertigo, right? It's like watching the Blair Witch Project, right? As people run through the house and they give you like this step-by-step tour through the house. People don't need that, they don't care. It's why those videos have like 7 views on them, because people don't care. If your videos don't get the views, it's because the videos aren't what people want to see. At the end of the day, that's exactly what you have to keep in mind. It's not a whole, I actually saw one. This is really funny. Sorry, this is my ADHD moment. So here's what happened. There was one, and one guy, I forget where, I think he was actually out of Texas. And he goes, I'm going to do the world's fastest home tour ever. Dead serious, he did this. And he grabs his iPhone and he goes, I'm going to do the world's fastest home tour ever. And he starts running through the house with his phone. And he's like, this is this, this is this. And he's running through the house. Well, all of a sudden, midway through the video, he slips. Balls, and the camera goes like skidding across the floor, and you see like this room spinning on the camera, and then you see him running over, and you see him leaning over the camera and picking it up, and he's like, we're moving on, and he runs through the rest of the house, and he posts this online, and he gets to the end, and he turns the camera on himself, and he goes, once again, this is my blah, blah, blah. Call me with any of your real estate needs, and he's like all sweaty and haggard looking. I'm like, I wouldn't call you for anything. Well, it's got like 3,000 views because people are laughing at him. He thinks it's because he did a good job. It's because people are laughing at him. See, that's not what people need to see. It's an educational platform. You've got to look at what it was each platform designed to do. Am I using it correctly or am I abusing it for my own needs? Define what you want from each network. Number 3, stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about yourself. Most people, when they get on social media, when they start doing Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, they come up to me and they go, but what do I say? Right? It's everybody's biggest fear, but what do I say? And you've got this little blank box, and it taunts you, right? And it says, what are you thinking? And you're like, I don't know. And that little cursor's flashing, and it's going, be brilliant, be brilliant, be brilliant. You're like, I can't be that brilliant, right? And the reason we're so worried about this, the reason we're so concerned about it is because when we get onto these things, we're worried about who? Ourselves. If I'm worried about what to say, I'm trying to find something to say about who? Me. Is it a whole lot easier to talk about somebody else than yourself? Absolutely. And what we recommend is rather than going on and worrying about talking about yourself, get on there and start engaging with other people around their posts, around their content, around what they've put out there. Engage with them around their stuff. It's a whole lot easier to go onto somebody's Facebook page, see that they posted about a trip that they took to Hawaii, and go, oh man, that was awesome. That looks like such a great trip. What was your favorite part? What was your favorite restaurant? Where was the best food that you had? What was your favorite activity? And you just start engaging with them around what it is that they're doing. See, if you're worried about what to post, it's because you're worried about yourself, not about engaging with somebody else around what they want. Number 4, deliver value. Deliver value. There's so many great ways to provide value on social media, through education, through helping them understand what's happening in the market, what's happening in their marketplace, and how does it impact them. See, if you just post stats, if you just post data, everybody has access to raw data, right? Would you agree that we're no longer the gatekeepers to the information? Yeah. You know what we are? The interpreters of the information. The interpreters of the information. What people need is they need an understanding of what does this data mean to me? What does it mean to me? If this is out there, if the market's up 14% month over month, but down 3% year over year, what does that mean to me? How does that impact me? What does that mean to me if I'm buying? What does that mean to me if I'm selling? So use it to promote and to provide value. You know other ways to provide value? Sometimes it's just a matter of liking somebody's post or commenting on somebody's post. Why? Because what is everybody's biggest fear when they post online? That nobody's going to like it, right? They're going to be like, I have no friends, right? I just posted a picture of my baby and it got 2 likes. Is my baby ugly? And you're kind of like, yeah. I had one person, this is so funny. One broker, we were talking about this and he goes, sometimes people post pictures of their kids and it's like, yeah, I'll donate to whatever charity you're raising money for. Like that's just wrong. So, but we see this. And see, people's biggest fear is that nobody's going to like their post. Nobody's going to comment on it. And so they post it out there. And how many of you recognize this? Because you post it out there and then you're like, refresh. 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 Yes, I got a like. Refresh. Right? People want to be liked. They want to have people like their post. And then they run around the office and like, yeah, I got 16 likes and 3 comments on my last post. And then there's always that person in the office that goes, that's what I get at 2:30 in the morning when I'm up with insomnia. That's all you get during the day? I get like 30 likes and 15 comments every time I post. You're like, crap. Mom, go like my post. Right? Because we want to feel appreciated. We want to feel liked. And what was interesting is there was a study that was done. And the people that were here this morning heard about this study. There was a study that was done. And they wanted to find out what happens in the human brain when they see that somebody likes their post. No kidding. Somebody decided that we're going to study this. So they hooked up all these like electrodes or diodes or whatever you hook up to a brain when you want to measure whatever chemicals are released. So they hook up all these diodes in brains, or diodes on the head or whatever. So I don't know. I'm not a scientist. So what they do is they hook all this stuff up and then they had somebody post on Facebook. And then they monitored their brain while they waited for somebody to like their post, which I think is partially torturing people for fun. But it is. So they post on Facebook and then they're watching and then all of a sudden they would get a like on the post, and what would happen is the same chemicals were released in the brain as are released when you get a physical hug. Yeah, some of you are like, right? Because that's kind of creepy, right? So what it is though, what this says is that if you want to give somebody the same feeling as if you were to hug them, like their Facebook post. That's the value that's there. Now if you want to have sex with them, go comment on it. Just saying. So you're like, did he really just go there? Yes, I did. All right. So, but wield the comments with care. But the whole idea is that if that's valuable to people, then go provide that value. Sometimes it's not massive stuff that you have to do. It's just about engaging with people around the thing that they care most about. And who do they care most about? Themselves, right? Not you. Number 5, use it to nurture your sphere of influence and stay top of mind. Use it to nurture your sphere of influence and stay top of mind. We recommend to all of our clients that you have 3 lists on Facebook. Number 1 is past clients, number 2 is current clients, and number 3 is your A-list sphere of influence. Why current clients? Because would you agree that there are issues that come up in your clients' daily lives that impact their psyche or their psychoticness in the middle of a transaction? Right? Have you ever gotten the call from a client and they were irate and you had no idea why? Chances are good that they vented about it on Facebook. It's a great thing to do is go hop on there and figure out what on earth just happened. Because a lot of times it's probably not you, it's that life happened. And if you have them on Facebook and you can go hop on really quick and see if there's something that's occurring in their life, that prepares you and it also allows you to head some things off at the pass. That's why you want to have your current clients on there. Number 6, organize your contacts in the list. We just talked about that. Sorry, I jumped ahead. And number 7, use the 90-10 rule. Use the 90-10 rule. The 90-10 rule says this: 90% of the time, everything that you post ought to be about somebody else. 90% of everything you post on social media ought to be about somebody else, not you. It's either responding to somebody's post, it's providing value to somebody else, but it is not talking about yourself. Only 10% of the time should you ever talk about yourself on social media. Only 10% of the time. The other 90% ought to be focused on everybody else. And social media becomes a whole lot more effective the more it's focused on everybody else and not you. Now, I'm about to slaughter a sacred cow because I love meat, and I love burgers, and I like steak, and I want to slaughter a cow. There's a big deadly myth out there, and I think it's wasting a lot of agents' time. I think it's wasting a lot of agents' value, and it's this: do you believe you should have both a business page and a personal page? The answer is no. No. Now, most people would say yes. And the reason they would say yes is they go, well, I can't post about my listings on my personal page because I'm violating Facebook's terms of services. So I'm going to go create a business page where I can post all my listings, all my open houses, everything, which nobody cares about. And I'm going to spend all this time and all this effort and all this resource and all this money to create a business page that the majority of people are not going to care about. And then I'm going to have to spend my time between my personal page and my business page, posting things over here. What should I post over here? What should I post over there? And it wastes a lot. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't work sometimes, but the majority of the time it doesn't. How do I know? Because I get invited to like pages all the time that have 13 likes. And they're like, I can't figure out why I only got 13 likes. I'm like, pity. Those 13 people liked your page not because they wanted to hear from you, but because they felt bad for you. Right? They saw that you only had 1 like, and 12 people were like, oh, that's awful. Like, and then they never come back. How many of you go back and regularly visit Facebook business pages that you've liked? Almost never. Almost never. See, the majority of the things that you post on a Facebook business page will not show up in most people's feeds, and you're going to waste a lot of time getting it out there. Now, there are 3 exceptions to this. Number 1, brokerages. If you run a brokerage, I believe you ought to have a Facebook business page because it's a great way to promote your culture. It's a great way to promote your office, what you do, promote your agents. I think that's a great thing. Number 2 is teams. I think teams can be a great use of Facebook pages, but you always want to be providing value, educating people on the market, educating people on other things, talking about team members and praising team members, but don't make it about your listings. It's not that you can't post that stuff, but if that's all you're posting, most people don't care. And I've seen pages where people thousands of likes on a business page for real estate because they had a great network of people, and they'll post something and it'll get 1 like. 0 comments. And you'll see, if you just go back months, and anybody that tells you that their Facebook business page is rocking, go back months and see how many likes and how many comments they have on it. And the majority of the time, it's very little. It's very little. Now, the 3rd exception to this, so you've got teams, you've got brokerages. The 3rd exception is if you are a celebrity real estate agent. So if you want to be on HGTV, if you want to be on $1 million listing Austin or whatever it is, and you want to go do that, and you want to build up your celebrity profile as a speaker, as a whatever, great, go set up a Facebook business page. But other than that, I think they're a waste of most people's time. All right, now why do we want to be on social media? Well, there's an interesting study that was done. 73% of salespeople who use social media sell more. 73% of salespeople who use social media sell more. Why? They're top of mind. It's a relationship business, right? Sales is a relationship. What is social media about? Relationships. So if it's about relationships and I use these things to build my relationships, nurture my relationships, it stands to reason that I'm going to sell more, right? So that's why we want to be there. All right, so let's talk about how to generate online leads. We're going to look at 2 ways to generate online leads, and then we're going to talk about how to convert those online leads. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that these are only 2 ways to do it. There are multiple ways to generate online leads. Multiple ways to do it. We're only going to look at 2. The first is what we call ZTR, or Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. And I always get this all the time, is if you had to invest in one, which one would you invest in? If you were only going to spend your money or your time, and by the way, you guys have Lead Street, which is awesome, and everybody ought to be actively involved in Lead Street. But if you're only going to invest in one of these, which one do you invest in? I hate to say this considering Trulia is here, but the answer is Zillow. The answer is Zillow. I still believe you ought to invest in Trulia. I believe that you ought to invest in Realtor.com. But if you're only going to pick one, you pick Zillow. And the reason is because it's the big elephant in the room right now. And most people go, oh, I hate Zillow, right? Because their estimates are so accurate, right? And every time I see his estimate, I'm like, oh, that's awesome because it's so stinking accurate. No, we hate Zillow because their estimates suck, right? And you know who else knows their estimates suck? Zillow. They even put a page on their site that says, here's how bad we suck. Almost, it doesn't quite say that, but what it says is, here's how far we're off. Here's how far all of our estimates are off in your particular marketplace. Print that out, show it to everybody that brings this estimate around. They're a great conversation starter, they're a great place to start. Now why Zillow? Because Zillow is trying to become the Google of property search and realtor search. Zillow is investing a tremendous amount of money to become the Google of real estate. And I want you to see this. How many of you have seen a Zillow commercial? Raise your hands. Oh, if you haven't seen this, I want you to watch this because I think this is absolutely powerful.
Did you get my email?
I did.
So what did you think of the house?
It's got a great kitchen, but did you see the school rating?
Oh, you're right.
Oh, hey babe, I gotta go.
Okay, come here, sweetie. Say bye to Daddy.
Bye, Daddy.
Have a good day at school, okay?
Okay.
But what about when my parents visit? I just don't think there's enough room. Let's keep looking.
Okay. You just love this one. I mean, look at it. It's next to a park.
I love it.
I love it too. What do you think we're gonna have?
I'm most excited about the pool.
Me too, sweetie. Here's your new house.
You're not just looking for a house. You're looking for a place for your life to happen. Zillow.
Pretty awesome commercial, isn't it? Why didn't you pass out tissues before you played that? I know, I've seen that video like 50,000 times and it still gets me. Because it's an emotionally powerful video, but what they're saying is that, look, you want to find your way home, you want to find a place for your life to happen, this is where you start. And they're going straight to the consumer. They're going straight to the consumer. I love Trulia, I love Realtor.com, but let's be honest, Zillow right now is dominating the branding wars. And I think Trulia is doing some awesome stuff, and I want you to definitely invest in it, but I want you to be aware of what's happening in this marketplace. The second way to do this is what we call lead gen sites. These are things that are like Boomtown, Tiger Leads, Market Leader. We have clients that use all of these. We have clients that use different ones, and I think they're great. I think all of them are great. I think you ought to look at which one works best in your marketplace, and you want to invest, and you want to try and capture as much of the zip code on all of these platforms as you possibly can. Just reinvest, reinvest, reinvest. But the way to make these things work is through a lead nurturing system, because I hear this all the time. Online leads are crap, right? Online leads are crap. I had a gentleman, I was talking about this one time, I had a gentleman come up to me afterwards, I got off stage, and he goes, how dare you recommend online lead sources? I said, why is this? And he goes, because all online leads suck. I said, wow, that is a broad brush you paint with, sir. I said, tell me why you think that way. He said, because I tried, Trulia, I tried Zillow, I tried all of these. And he goes, and they didn't work. And I said, so you tried them. How long did you try them? And he goes, 3 months. I was like, wow, that's so awesome. I said, your efforts are amazing. I said, did you know most leads are anywhere from 6 to 18 months out from being ready to buy? And he goes, but that doesn't matter, they were all crap. And I said, how do you know? And he goes, because I would call them and they wouldn't call me back. Wow, you are the first real estate agent who has never received a call back from a lead. I'm shocked. You must be right. And I said, well, what else did you do? And he goes, well, I would email them. And they wouldn't email me back. It's like, again, just shocking. Absolutely shocking that nobody called you back or emailed you back. And I said, and then what? And he goes, well, then I stopped because I assumed they were tire kickers. I said, see, the problem is if they're 6 to 18 months out from being ready to buy, the problem isn't that online leads are crap, it's the lead nurturing system. It's the lead nurturing system. It's that you have nothing happening from the time they come in to the time that they're actually ready to move forward that you're doing to keep them motivated, to keep them in the cycle and to stay top of mind. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to convert online leads at 24%. And this is what one of our coaches does with his team, and he converts his online leads at 24%. This is not 24% once in a while. He's been doing this now for 18 months at 24%. He built up to it, he didn't start there, but he's been consistently converting on average at 24%. Some months a little higher, some months a little slower, but it just depends. It averages out over the last 18 months to 24% a month. So here's exactly what he does. Now some of you are gonna cringe because this is a lot. 10 calls in the first 2 weeks. By the way, take a picture of this because you won't have time to write it all down. 10 calls in the first 2 weeks. Now that's that should say 20, that's a typo. 20 calls in the first 2 weeks. 2 calls a day, 5 days a week for 2 weeks. 2 calls a day, 5 days a week for 2 weeks until they answer the phone or call them back. And you know what? A lot of people call them back because they just want them to stop calling. So they do. And once they start that communication, then they know what's going on. They send 3 to 5 emails in the first 2 weeks. 2 to 3 text messages in the first 2 weeks. Some of you are having a mild heart attack, and I know the question that's on your mind is, what on earth do I say? We'll get there. Then after that first 2 weeks, then what they do is they do 1 call a week for 3 more weeks and 1 email a week for 3 more weeks. 1 call a week and 1 email a week for 3 more weeks. And they're doing this because they know that most people, it takes on average, 90% of sales occur after the 12th touch. After the 12th touch, 90%. So what they realize is that we've got to start touching them more regularly. So then after that first 4 weeks, then they start doing 1 email every week, and they put them on an auto drip campaign if they haven't heard back from them, and then they call them if they have a phone number about once every month, on average, once a month. That's what they do. And the question is, well, how long do they do this for? Forever. Why? Because they know that if they're 6 to 18 months out from being ready to buy. Originally he said, we're going to try this for 18 months. And if after 18 months they don't move forward, we're just going to nuke them out of the database. And what they found is they got closer to 18 months. People started converting at a higher rate. They started calling back and going, hey, you know what, I'm finally ready to move forward. I'm sorry I haven't called you back in a year and a half. Why? Because people just weren't ready, but they liked the value that he was providing. They liked the stuff that he was sending them. And so this is what he does, and most people won't do this. I had a gentleman come up to me in St. Louis a couple weeks ago. He said, you know, I just want to tell you, you told everybody exactly how I convert my internet leads at 30%. He goes, I convert my internet leads at 30%. He goes, I'm a top 1% agent in my marketplace. He said, you just told everybody how to do it. I said, great. And he goes, I'm not concerned. I said, I know you're not. And he goes, do you know why? I said, yes, I do. He said, because most people won't do it. Most people won't do it. Now, the big question that people have is going, oh my gosh, that's a lot of contacts. What do I say, right? What do I say to all these people? If I'm going to be emailing them all the time, texting them all the time, what on earth do I say? The reality is it's not so important what you say, it's that you say something. It's that you say something, and if you're looking at different ways to provide value, what they're doing is in those first emails, they're recommending lenders, they're recommending stagers, they're recommending all sorts of different people that they can reach out to. They're providing value with everything that they send out, value-added emails. After a period of time though, and what they basically say is, look, we're the real estate professionals. Are there things that you know as a real estate professional that the average consumer does not? Yeah, right? So what they do is they say, we know all of this stuff, so what we're going to do is we're going to educate them on the process. We're going to educate them on all of these things for as long as they stay in the system. Now, what happens eventually is that you run out of things to educate them on. Right? You're like, I've told them everything I know about real estate. In fact, they could go take their license exam now, and I'm about ready to start quoting from the Realtor Code of Ethics because I am out of things to teach them. Right? After a year and a half, you start running out of things to say. So what they do is they turn it on and they go, well, let's just have some fun. Right? They haven't opted out at this point. Let's have some fun. So I reached out to one of the agents on his team. Her name is Alex. And I said, Alex, do you have a fun email that you've sent out that you don't mind me sharing with anybody that I do this talk with? She goes, no, absolutely. I've got one here for you. So this is what it said. Subject line, don't stab your neighbor. Now, if you'd been getting emails from somebody for a long period of time and you got something that said, don't stab your neighbor, would you open it? Yeah, I would.